Joaquin Phoenix, who I think is the most controversial of all the Jokers that we have on this list.
You think so?
Very much so. Because Jared Leto is universally hated.
Fair.
No one likes Jared Leto. No one likes him.
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix, split the fan base right in two.
That's fair.
Because people are like, hey, that's not my Joker.
Yeah.
So I want you to break it down, because I've been breaking down some of these Jokers. I want you to break it down. How did you enjoy Joaquin Phoenix's portrayal of Joker?
All right. Well, you just mentioned how he splits the fan base in two.
Yep.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of on both sides.
I hear you.
I understand. Like he's not my Joker. He doesn't feel like a Joker. But it's also, this is an Elseworld movie. This is kind of it's a new take on the character. Much like Ben Affleck, it's purposefully different. But at his core, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker still feels like the Joker. And I think that's the most important thing.
It's just
his version of the character.
It's just a very different Joker.
It's a very different Joker. Because, I mentioned Heath Ledger's the smartest. All the Jokers are kind of smart in their own way. Especially Heath Ledger's. Like, he's smart to the point where it's terrifying.
Yeah. It's fucking psychic. Jigsaw level. Jesus.
Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is not very smart, but he's very impulsive and he's very emotional. And that's what makes him terrifying. That's what makes him unpredictable.
He's unpredictable, right?
Yeah. Because at any moment in time, you say the wrong thing around him, he's just going to snap. And sure, the other Jokers are like that too. But it's in the performance. It's the little, twitches in Joaquin's face. The way he would glare at somebody. The way he glared at Robert De Niro.
I feel like the main thing.
Terrifying.
I feel like one of the main things that made Joaquin Phoenix's Joker terrifying is not only that he's unpredictable, but that he seems more unstable than the other Jokers. Now, I know that they're all fucking crazy. They're all unstable. The problem, the difference between them and the other Jokers is the other Jokers, they always have a plan, an end game, if you will. Joaquin Phoenix don't have an end game. He's just lashing out.
Yeah, I mean, he was going to kill himself. I guess that was his plan, was to kill himself on live TV.
Right.
But after the conversation with Robert De Niro, in the moment, he shot him instead.
Made that decision on the fly.
Yeah. So, it's a give and take, I guess. He's very emotional, and that's what makes him scary.
Mm-hmm.
And, when we talk about the performance, Joaquin Phoenix just fucking kills it. He's so damn good as the Joker.
Yes.
He even looks like the Joker.
He does.
And honestly, I think one of my favorite aspects of this version of the character is that his laugh is a nervous tick.
Involuntary, yes.
It's involuntary. It's scary, bro. Like, that is actually a terrifying thought to have.
Well, we can talk about all day about what this film says politically, or how people kind of reject people with mental illnesses, right, and treat them like trash, that kind of thing, right? Or you could talk about how, like, all that pent-up aggression of being a loner kind of spills out with toxic masculinity and eventually leads into, leads to murders and violence and that kind of thing. We could talk about that all day, but we're here to talk about Joaquin's performance and the Joker's character in and of itself, pretty much. So I'd like to think that this Joker is very emotional, but is also very detailed and layered and is very disturbed. And right now, this Joker is in his early stages of development. Now, unlike Batman, this Joker comes from a lot more of an unstable background. All right, he doesn't have $1 million mansion. He doesn't have somebody looking out for him. He's alone. He's got to make all these mistakes himself. He's got to learn all his lessons by himself. And he wasn't raised correctly in any regard. And he has so many issues that the government or the Medcare system, whatever the fuck, the healthcare system will not help him with. So he's a product of his environment, right? And I think that this Joker in particular is something that a lot of people can relate to. And that's something that is hard for me to say for the other Jokers. Mark Hamill, I definitely see it because once again, they definitely pander to humanity a lot more than the live action versions. But besides Mark Hamill, you can understand where the Jokers are coming from, but you cannot relate to them anywhere near as much as a Joaquin Phoenix. You really can't, because he's just another guy.
He feels like a Joker from our reality.
Yes. If Joker
Not from
was
a comic
real,
book one.
this would be him.
Yep. For sure. And I like, in terms of aesthetic, that he's more clown-like.
Yes.
Like the colors he wears, the makeup. You know, he's got like the red nose. He's a clown.
Holmes really did parties.
Yeah, we're all clowns.
All right. We live in a society.
Yeah, that's really what we're saying here.
Yeah, right. I think this portrayal of Joker is very intelligent. I think this portrayal of Joker is very deep. I also think it's very relatable to people who go through mental struggles, who deal with loneliness, who deal with a whole host of things. I think they can all see a little bit of themselves in the Joker. And that's what the Joker uses to his advantage. He rallies the people up against the system. And all that rallying leads to violence and rioting in the street, which he wanted. Joker at his core has always been an anarchist. Overthrow the government, go chaos mode, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. And I feel like in his first movie they nailed him to a T, his version of him to a T, and I don't really have any issues with this Joker. You can say it's not comic book it's not comic book faithful, and that's fair, but I don't think that makes a movie bad because it didn't follow the comic books. All right, I think that the Joker that's here is very well made, very intelligent, very well written, and is very different from the other Jokers. And I also think that he is not finished. His story is not finished. Just like this Batman, his story is not finished, but what is here is damn near perfect. With that being said, where do you rank him?
He's S tier.
But where in S tier? That's the question. Me personally,
He's
I think
underneath Heath Ledger.
Me personally, I think it's really early to tell, right? So I can't put him over Heath Ledger, but it's hard for me to put him over Jack Nicholson as well. It really is.
I feel like for me, him and Jack Nicholson are kind of on par. And it's weird because they're very different too.
You know what? I'd say that there are damn near no flaws with Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. I mean, I can't think of one. Can you?
No.
Can you think of a flaw of Joaquin Phoenix's Joker? Not Joaquin
No.
Phoenix. Can you think of a flaw of Jack Nicholson's Joker? Any flaw, big or small?
Honestly, no. I like everything about Jack Nicholson's Joker.
Well, then I guess it should come down to which subject matter is more complicated and executed better, pertaining to the character itself. Like his arc, that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, Jack Nicholson's Joker doesn't really have an arc. He goes from being a bad guy to a worse guy. So, I mean, in terms of that, it's got to be Joaquin.
I mean,
his arc is a lot more defined.
What story lasts with you more? What makes you think more? What's more impactful?
Well, the one that makes me think more is Joaquin Phoenix's. But the performance and the character that's more memorable to me, the one I quote more often, would be Jack Nicholson's. And it is partially biased because Jack Nicholson's is the one I grew up with. And Joaquin Phoenix is the most recent version of the character that we've gotten so far.
I'll tell you what.
But in terms of one that makes me think, one that's more intelligent, in terms of the writing, it's Joaquin.
You know what I think? I think of this. I think that right now the stages that we are currently in with Joker is way too early. We're in way too early stages with the Joker. I think we need to wait for Joker Folly at due to put him over Nicholson. I
Mm-hmm.
really do. Judging by the trailer, I mean, we did a whole breakdown on it. It looks to be another masterpiece. And if it builds on Joker's character more and actually makes him more of an organized kind of guy, like he's actually acting with intent rather than emotion, like you see him mature and kind of build up as an even more imposing Joker. I'd have to say that he'd be a contender with Heath Ledger if he could pull something like that off, but we don't know yet. So for now,
Mm-hmm.
I'd say he's just below Jack Nicholson by a smidgen. He's just
Yeah,
below Jack Nicholson.
absolutely fair.